All right, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Thursday, November 30th, 2023. If you've not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Anyways, let's get into it here today. So again, doing the video a little on the early side. So we are doing the live stream, 4 members after the bell, and plus I can pretty much guarantee you we're going to close right at 45.50 anyway. So especially since it is a monthly close here as well. So that's probably going to be where they want to put us on the SPX. You can see we are going to close, it looks like, unless we get a little fade here in the next 40 minutes, we're going to close above that September red bar. So that's a positive for bulls here. But we did see some selling finally hit the tape here today a little bit. The reason why we couldn't get follow through is, again, we're pinned to 45.50, but it's more so than that, I think. The volume, right? So 45 million shares here at 320. It's better than normal. We'll probably beat yesterday's volume when it's all said and done, like after hours and everything. And of course, we'll get, I'm sure, an uptick in volume going into the last 35, 40 minutes. But again, the volume's so light, right? So you had a nice break. We broke back below this key level. We actually made a little lower low on an intraday basis, like a local low. So low of the day was 453.34, and that took out, that's the lowest we've been since Tuesday of last week. So again, a little local lower low, essentially. But again, you can see here as we got to the lunch hour, look how hard it was to get down all the way down here. And then as soon as we get into the lunch hour, the volume's just so dry. We were able to float back up, and that 45.50 just pulled us right back in. Those kind of zombie buyers showed right back up. One thing that I do find significant here, and we've talked about exhaustion and buyer exhaustion, I think that's still coming into play here. It's going to need some type of catalyst or exogenous move, though, right? Because we had PCE this morning, and it came in right as expected. It was Goldilocks number. That should have been bullish, and the market couldn't rally. That shows exhaustion. But at the same time, the volume, I hate to keep harping on it, but that's really what it is here. Volume's this late in the holiday period. It's just hard to get selling. That said, we take a look at the Qs here today. That was weak all day long. You're going to see 2 lines here. One is the previous high of the year, 387.98. We did break back below that, and we're going to, unless we have a miracle Hail Mary in the next 30 minutes, we're going to close below that. So, again, is it the end of the world? No, but you could make a case this is starting to say fake breakout, right? So we close above it, inside bar pattern, and now we're back below. The second green line is the inside bar low from the 20th. A daily close below that not only negates that previous high, but it negates that breakout bar. So again, the volume's light. Could we just close back above it tomorrow on a weekly close, which is more important? It's absolutely possible, right? So nothing to say that can't happen, but when you're in this environment and the market's as lofty as it is, if there's going to be a correction, it's got to start somewhere, right? So it's got to start with one thing, and these are the kinds of things you look for. Now, we do have Powell tomorrow. No idea what he's going to say. I would think he might want to walk back some of the DOW talk. It obviously doesn't help his job, but again, I don't know what he's going to do or say. I believe that's at 2 p.m., so that'll be interesting because it's kind of not, giving the market a lot of time to digest what he says. But in any case, those are levels I'm watching here. Now, interesting story today. You're going to see the Qs here, and a lot of things like SMH bear flagging here intraday, and as the Qs start to drip lower, as we get closer to the final bell. But take a look at the Dow. I don't think I've seen a divergence like this all year. Look at the DIA here, up 1%. And I was talking about this in the trading room. I was like, guys, look at the Dow. It's literally making new highs as the Qs are making new lows intraday. And the same thing with the Russell here. Russell pushing up, making new highs as the Qs and the spiders are making new lows of the day. Why is that? Well, we had UNH, it was a powerhouse, up 3%. That's a massive move for UNH. And it is price cap. The Dow is price cap weighted. So that's why I always kind of refer to the Dow as sort of less significant because it doesn't really show the whole story. But price cap weighted UNH up 3%. Banks were up today nicely. Goldman up 13 cents. Another big Dow component, but the big one was Salesforce, right? So $250 stock up 8% on the day. That was really helping out the Dow. Strangely enough, though, CRM up 8%, and Snowflake also report earnings. I believe that was up Yeah, 6.5, although it came off the highs here. Not really helping out tech. So the Qs really opened out of the gate weak, even despite that big gap up in most of technology. Granted, semiconductors are on the weaker side. Nvidia has taken a pretty good hit, down 3%. Tesla down almost 2%. Microsoft down 0.75%. Google down 2.5%. And Meta and Amazon also both down as well. So again, tech kind of the weak link today. We had a lot of strength in other sectors, though. XLE actually had a pretty nice rollover. That was strong earlier. But again, healthcare, XLV there, up 85 basis points. And then XLF was the powerhouse, up 0.75%. In any case, right now, again, in order to get some type of a move here, we need to get unpinned from 45.50. And maybe that happens here in the next half hour. So we'll see. Maybe the bears can do something here. They certainly have it. It's certainly set up. We talked about this yesterday. Look, there's a kind of a window open, right? You had the gap and crap. You had the fake breakout. We gapped up above this area, and we were unable to hold it, right? So there's a window here if the bears want to do something. So we'll see if they can push it through even with the light volume. But that's what I'm looking at here. If we do start to head lower, 4,500 is going to be your near-term next kind of magnet level for the SPX, for the triple Qs, right into that 20-period moving average, as well as this gap window. You get through that, then we can start talking about gap fill and, 375 in that area. Russell 2000, you're still hanging in there okay, up 0.25%, although it is fading off the highs like everything is right now. But again, not a bad pattern. Nothing's really changed here. I think it just needs to consolidate a little bit more. And then I think the Russell can move higher. The Dow, this is now parabolic here, the DIA. So this is through that 355 area. We had a nice tail candle the last 2 days, in fact, and we closed basically right on that level, which goes back to last year all the way in April. And we'll see where we close the week out here. But the Dow is now kind of parabolic, so just be aware of that. Doesn't mean it can't go higher. It just means that this particular move is on borrowed time here. But Dow with a powerhouse move and is closing above that. We'll see where it goes tomorrow. Let's say we get rejected tomorrow, maybe Powell dumps the market, and maybe we close back below, these pivots, it could be kind of a little save there by the end of the week. But in any case, the Dow big winner on the day, and that has not been the case really all year long. It's been tech, obviously. Semiconductors on the weaker side here, down 1.63. We did slice into the gap just a little bit there. So that may need to come down and test the 20 MA, maybe even fill the gap here at 156.59. If you get through that, there's a pivot and kind of a little area there around 153. So those are the levels I'm watching on the SMH, but SME is notably weaker here. You can even see the SOX, both the SMH and the SOX working on a daily chart, lower highs and slight lower low. To be technical, that's essentially what it is. SOX has not made that lower low yet, but it does have that lower high there. So just something to keep an eye on. All right, another sector, IGV here. So this is still fractionally higher, but again, Salesforce up 8%, Snowflake up 6%, and IGV actually is basically faded back to the flat line. Going to close below yesterday's high. So a little bit of weakness there. A lot of I don't know, maybe just some profit taking, selling the news here. I mean, take a look at Adobe today, down 1%. Oracle, Atlassian. So it's really kind of like those DataDog down a little bit. So really it's kind of like a CRM and Snowflake kind of offsetting weakness in the rest of the sector there. But and even Microsoft, which make up a big part of the IGV, again down 82 basis points. So that was dragging the IGV down. Right now, again, you'd look for the gap to fill here, and that would be that level we talked about around 382. Which is going back to last year, all these pivots right there. If you get through that, then you can have a bigger corrective move down to 368, 370. But again, IGV coming in off the highs, and really everything tech was soft today. Dow Transport's here having a good day, so again up 1%. This pattern is still really good. I just think it needs to do a little bit more of it. But that pattern there on the DJT is fine, and it's starting to reclaim trend. I like how you're just kind of putting in these little test candles here, holding these moving averages, getting a bid. And just kind of firming up on this chart here. Again, if we get through resistance, 15.6 is going to be about where I'm going to look. Maybe 15.8 on some overshoot there, but transports are holding up okay. All right, interest rates here. So I talked about this yesterday. I predicted a bounce regardless of PCE, and you can see the 2-year got to that level. We've been talking about this for about 3 weeks. So Pierce of the 200, or yeah, Pierce of the 200, and then 4.6, and that's where our bounce is. So, and we made some nice money today on ZT short. Well, actually, we were short yesterday and into today, which is a 2-year Treasury note future. So essentially, we were long yield. So we made some nice money on that, and still holding with a break even stop on this. I think this can get back to 4.8. 5-year, 4.4, 4.45. So you see those pivots there, and then 10-year, right around 4.45, 4.5. Again, same thing with the fives. But again, we talked about this level, little buy zone, pivot, chop, breakout. That's where it's likely going to bounce. So I said even if, unless PCE comes in like super cold, it's likely yields, whatever is going to happen is priced in. Or if it comes in hot, then it's really going to bid, right? So I just favor the risk reward here and let the charts do its job. And that's essentially what happened here. You can see the 30-year as well. I'll be looking for this around 4.67, maybe 4.75. I don't know if it gets that high here, but again, you can see the level picture perfect, and it is doing its job there. So nice bounce, and that's really all we're looking for here. But a nice play there on the yields. XHB here, so that continued to be strong. It was down 12 cents, but strong intraday. What I mean by that is we had this big sell and then rallied all the way back up intraday and was kind of flagging there. So again, pattern-wise, looks fine. I don't see any issues. If that 20 MA catches up, I think it'll act like a spring for a price. My only issue is that it's still kind of high on the hog. And you definitely wouldn't want to see it close below that green bar at any time if we were to break back down. But again, pattern-wise, it looks just fine here. VNQ inside day. So again, we'd say 82 would be max upside for the short run. And it is, it's green on the day, but still inside of yesterday's range. So we'll see if, what kind of pattern that needs to put in. Maybe it needs to do some backing and filling after this big run up. Again, this was a sell zone breakdown, and that's kind of where you're testing right now. So it may need to do some stalling out there, but BNQ hanging in there. Okay. XLF, that's very strong. KBWB, look how this is firmed up. So, I think that wants to get back up into the, 45, 46 area. KBE up another 0.5% today. I still think this has got good resistance here right now. But pattern-wise, there's nothing to say it can't go higher. Maybe again, after a little bit of stalling out, same thing with KRE, nothing wrong there. I think that wants to get into the 48 handle potentially. Broker dealers all over the map today, but all in all green. Again, you guys know 500 and then 510, and then above that, nothing's really changed on that front. On to commodities here. So crude, a little dump here. So all over the map here. Take a look at the volume. We had the OPEC meeting today, and I think they suggested maybe I think it was a 2 million BPD cut. And the market didn't really care, right? So we went up to the trend line and we tested it, and we went right back down. Take a look at the 4-hour here. It closed below that. That's a failed inverse head and shoulders. So we're kind of on that. We sliced it in the last 4-hour candle, and we're just sitting on it right now. But if that fails, I think crude's headed down into this area. So, 67 to 70, I think that's a zone for crude. I'm not so sure if that's a buy zone. We'll have to reevaluate it when it gets there. How quickly does it go down there? Does it consolidate? This, that, and the other thing. But it should at least be some type of support if we do get down there. But pattern suggests to me right now, I think this is weak, especially if we close, below that trend line there on a 4-hour basis. So just be careful with crude here. Again, XLE here, this was really strong this morning. And again, that was kind of keeping the spiders up, right? So the Qs were getting hammered and the spiders were kind of holding up this morning. And saying, oh, the XLE is kind of, helping the market out along with XLV and XLF. But at one point, look at this rollover. Boom, right into the afternoon. It is green right now, but doesn't really tell you the story there. Again, pattern-wise, I can't do anything with this. Look at this. Look at that. So I would prefer a leg down, and then we'll look at it there, but nothing to do with it right now. Leave it alone. Same thing with XOP. Don't like it until 130, sub 130 perhaps. OIH, same thing. Again, I still like this the best out of the three, but again, leave that alone as well. CCJ just can't go down, so up 3% on the day after the retrace yesterday. If it gets through this level, it's going to 50. URNM, look at that. It's just, an engulfing reversal after, basically a 3-day pullback candle. really a 2-day pullback. This is just an inside day, a 2-day pullback, and then engulfing on volume. Just incredible here. I do think uranium remains strong into the end of the year. There's a lot of chasing and a lot of window dressing going on in this sector. But yeah, URNM should get to double top. I don't see any reasons why it can't, and possibly even pierce that. Nat gas today, a little bit of an inside day here. So nothing really doing. We had inventories. That was kind of the low of the day there, and it did pop back up. Not sure what kind of pattern it's putting in right now. On the weekly here, I think tomorrow's close will tell us a lot more as far as direction with this, but it has had a nice decline over the last couple of weeks, and a little bit more neutral on it right now, but tomorrow's close I think will tell us a lot more there. But really kind of a nothing burger there today for natural gas. Dollar index, again, supporting that theory that the yields were going to bid here. So we hit the 618, we talked about 102.50. There it is. Nice pop there. It's back testing the 200 on an intraday basis. I like that 4-hour. It looks fine here. That might need to consolidate a little bit overnight, but if the dollar continues to bounce, you're going to look for 104.30, 104.40. And if we get through that, it's up to 105. So those are the levels I'm watching there on the DXY. If that happens, maybe that can finally unpin us here from this 45.50 area. It certainly would be bullish yields in the short term, and that's kind of a trade that I've obviously taken. So gold here still holding up. It is pulling back, though. Again, you got a gap to fill there. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to right now. Your double tops right there, and then supports right here. Your gap fill, pivot high, pivot high, pivot high. So gold continuing to hold up really well. GDX looks very good. I think this can be bought on pullbacks as long as it doesn't close below $30 on a daily, let's say weekly, just to be safe. But I think that can be bought on pullbacks here. Silver, same kind of deal. So again, the weekly close will tell us a little bit more on this one. But it does look like we're going to get above this trend line and hold that by the end of the week. But again, still a gap to fill, and it is a little overbought, but that's kind of what metals do, or commodities do, in fact. Platinum here just pulling back, just down 62 basis points. I'd prefer a little bit more of a dip on this one. I think that can be bought on pullbacks. Palladium, again, if you have a longer term horizon, I don't have a problem with it, but it is the weakest of the metals right now, so just be aware of that. Copper here holding up just fine. Again, weekly close will tell us a lot more about that one as well. But no real problems here. And it looks fine right now on the daily and weekly. The bigger picture here to me, though, is the monthly. And I can still make a case, and I still think this is a case here for some type of a bear pattern. And I do think it needs to go down and test lower prices one more time. But right now, the chart's respecting, I'm going to respect the charts. I'm not going to argue with the charts. And near to medium term, it looks fine. So I'm not going to bet against it. I'll put it that way. All right. Bitcoin here still holding up. Nothing's changed there. Take a look. Tightening range. Rising wedge. So that's the only caution I have here on Bitcoin. This is going to get tight here over the next couple of weeks. That's going to meet, probably in mid-December. So we're going to get a decision there pretty soon. But yeah, right now it's still in that range and nothing has really changed. I like the pattern better on some of the alts. This is a good pattern on ETH. There's nothing wrong with that. And you guys know I talked about Solana yesterday. Same kind of deal. So alt's looking pretty good here, at least some of them. But Bitcoin tightening range there with a rising wedge on the daily. All right, so lastly here, just below 45.50. Look at that. So they're going to pop us right back up. They don't want us to get us getting too far away from that area. And I'd be shocked if we close anywhere too far away from that. We got about 20 minutes left in the day. But again, bears did make a little bit of progress here, at least for a potential pullback. Again, we're not talking about a crash or anything like that. But again, take a look at the Qs. So we are closing back below that breakout level. And again, tomorrow's close will tell us a lot more. If we close below this area, if we have another down day tomorrow and we close, below this, or, God forbid, below 383.18, then we really know the market's in correction mode, especially if they do that on a Friday close, which would be the weekly. For the spiders, your big kind of support is around intraday 45.25, and then below this green bar here 45.10. So again, we'll see what we get tomorrow. We are just hugging on that trend line, going back to the all-time highs, and we have not been able to break through it yet. But again, we'll see what tomorrow's close brings and what Powell says at 2 p.m. Anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. Talk to you guys all tomorrow.